Thank you for joining me this afternoon. We will be reviewing how to proof and submit pages in the Memory Book online program. This webinar will be approximately 20 to 30 minutes long. You will be able to review the topics we are covering today in the manual starting on page 186 in the Creation Design section. In previous years, you would go here to the Plan section and submit your page, but this year they've added an area, Preflight area, in the Designer section that you can submit and preflight your pages as you go. The Preflight menu over here is in the bottom right corner, and it's this little triangle here. You can also view any comments here that maybe you and your team have written to each other, or reminders you've left for each other. But here is the little triangle with the exclamation point. And the whole point of Preflight is to make sure your book has the final proof done, and you are happy with everything, and you're going to need to get rid of any incomplete elements that maybe have gotten placed on the page that are there and you weren't aware of it. So you want to be sure to check all spelling and punctuation on all your text. You want to review portraits for duplicate images and names. And we only put a book on hold if a name is missing or a picture is missing on a portrait page. So the first thing you want to do is run your spell check. And it's letting me know here that unforgettable is spelled incorrectly. So I'm going to go ahead and change that. And I'm going to have to save it. So every time you make a change, you want to save it, and then you'll need to go back and maybe run the spell check again, but or look for the incomplete elements. Now down here, here's where you can refresh the page, and I don't see any warnings that there are any incomplete elements, but we can now mark this page complete instead of going all the way to the page ladder. So basically that one's ready to submit. So I could go ahead and submit it from here too. Now if I saw a mistake that I needed to correct, I could click return, and that's going to mark it in, back to in progress, and then you can go ahead and make your correction and then mark as complete again. Now once you do that, you want to refresh the page, and then it should allow you to submit. But I skipped a process. I didn't look at the PDF. So we need to look at the PDF, and this is our confirmation that you've looked at the page one last time. You want to be aware of your dotted line here. This is your trim line, the approximate trim line. So you want to make sure any important elements are inside of that. So this page looks good. So let's refresh it. And for some reason, it's not letting me. Let me go to the next page and come back. It's not giving me the proof the PDF again. And as you can tell, this is a new program, so there's a few bugs. This was working yesterday for me. Okay, so this one is a class page. I'm going to go ahead and run my spell check. It's letting me know grades is spelled incorrectly. So I'm going to change that. Save my change. And there's no spelling suggestions. So I'm going to look at the proof. And this is something that you really want to keep an eye on for. This is dark text on top of a dark background. So basically, once that's printed, you're not going to be able to read the names very well. So as you're building your book, you want to keep that in mind. So since I've noticed that, I'm going to go here and I'm going to correct that problem. So I'm going to get out of my Preflight I'm going to right click and change my background. And instead of changing it, I'm going to make the tint lighter on it. So you would do that to your left and right page. Now something else you can do to make sure your text shows, you can go over here to art and you can add a square and you could scale it out to go behind just these names if you'd like to. May have to kind of mess with it a little bit to get it the right size. And you can go up here to the formatting and you could change the transparency on this. And I'm going to make it about 25. So now I'm going to send this to the back under the arrange. And now those names are, you can read them. So you could also take this element and you can copy and paste it over here and put it behind these names. And you could also do that page to page. And select them both and send it to the back. Okay, so I'm happy with this page. I'm going to save my change. Go back to my Preflight menu. I'm going to proof the PDF. And that looks much better. And I noticed here my tree's on the top of my students that I missed that. That was pretty obvious, wasn't it? Okay. Okay, so now that looks good. I'm going to mark this as complete. Okay, I'm not sure why it's not marking as complete. Okay, I'm going to go to the next page. Now on this page, we have some incomplete elements. I'm going to run my spell check. I'm going to make my changes. If it's a name, I'm going to ignore it. And when you click on the page number, it will show you when you click on these problems, if this page was good to go, there wouldn't be any problems here. So if you click on the problem it's listing, it's telling me that there's an incomplete element behind here, an unedited image box. So I'm going to need to get rid of that. So I'm going to move this down a little bit, and you can see the yellow triangle there. Just hit delete. Here's another one. Now this one, this happens a lot whenever the images are low resolution and they don't go inside the image box. And so it shows up like it's got a blue border around it. Well, it's actually the image box and it won't let you submit the page if it's still there. So you would have to remove that and then go back in and get a shape and place it behind there and choose a color for it. And here's another one. So I'm gonna, it's an odd shape, so I'm gonna save my changes. Okay, So now that I've clicked on it, there isn't any problems here. So let's go to page 5, and there aren't any problems here either. So let's go ahead and view the PDF again. And now we can mark page 4 as complete. And it's got the lock icons here in the corners. And then page 5, we can mark it as complete. And if I saw a mistake I wanted to correct, I could go here and click return. So that's what you're going to do on all your pages. And this page I wanted to show you, this is like maybe a parent had created this ad and scanned it and sent it to you. So then you upload it and you put it on the page. You want to make sure that all of your text is not outside of this trim line. We can look at the PDF here and see the very top of that's going to get trimmed off. So what you would want to do is put the image back on the page again, and this one has been set as a background. So you would need to remove it and then add it to the page again. And then you would want to scale it out to fit the page. And then you could leave it like this, or you could put a green background back behind the image to make it look like it fills the page. But there aren't any warnings here, so I'm going to view the PDF. And that's how it's going to look when it's printed. And I'm going to mark that as complete. Now, once you've gone through and you've marked these all as complete, you can go through and you could return the page here, like you can in that Preflight menu, or you can submit the pages. Let's see if this lets me. There's empty image boxes on those pages, so I did not take care of all the problems on those pages. So page 2. Okay, it's back behind here, so since this is a flow panel, you will have to go in and move it to the back so that that image box is where you can grab it. So then we're going to go ahead and put this flow panel back in the front. Now let's see what it does. Okay, so that one's marked as complete. And it completed both of them since my tree goes across both sides. Okay, so now they're all of these are in the submit status. So here in the ladder, since you've looked at the PDFs on all of these, you should be able to select these. I'm checking in these boxes in the corner, and under actions you can click submit. Now if you had all of your pages checked and you had them all in the submit status where you could either submit or return, you can click this box and it's going to select all of them. But since I don't have all of them ready, I'm going to go ahead and just check the box. So I can click submit, And this is letting us know that we need to look at the PDF on these. But the pages that I was able to go ahead and submit, the border on the outside turned black, and so those are submitted. So I would need to go back to these pages and check to see what maybe I have an incomplete element on there, or I need to look at the printer icon and see what's causing the page to not submit. So these are just little things you'll need to go through and look at and kind of work through it to get your pages submitted. Now, if you come across a problem that you can't figure out, please give us a call and we'll be happy to help. You can look at the virtual book also. That kind of gives you an idea of what the pages are going to look like when it's printed. So when you go to the design section, here you can click virtual book and you can go through the pages one by one. Now, if you came across a page that you wanted to fix or you needed to look at a little bit closer, you can click edit and it'll take you to the design section. Now here you want to keep in mind that the trim is still on this, so about 1/4 of an inch is going to get trimmed off the outside of these pages. So you really want to make sure your important elements are within those margins, and it will look a little bit different once you receive your book. Okay, so once you submit all your pages, it'd be a good idea to go ahead and email your customer rep and let them know that they're submitted. And then once we put that book into production, you'll receive a confirmation email, and it's going to go over all the specifications of your book, like the binding, how many pages, how many copies, and that sort of thing. If you've reviewed your book and you see a mistake, you want to get back to us really quick, because it doesn't take long once the books are submitted to go on out into production. And once they're at a certain point in production, we will charge for stopping the book to make that correction. And if you needed to print a proof of your book for maybe your administration to check, or you wanted your committee to see it, you'll go up here to the print icon in the plan section, and when you click print all, it's going to generate a low-res PDF, and you can save that PDF to your computer, or you can print it from there. Once you've done all of these steps and you receive that confirmation email, you should receive an invoice in about 10 days. So if you have any questions, would you please type them in the chat bar? I have a question. How do you delete a page or add a page? If you're going to reduce your page count, you need to reduce them by 4, because that's how many pages we print at a time. And the page count will affect your price of your book, so you'll need to talk to your customer rep about doing that. Now, if you're deleting pages, you'll want to, when you get all done, you want to have all of the blank pages at the very end. And so let's say you're going to end your pages at 92 pages here. All of these last 4 pages would be blank, and your last page would be 92. When working on a candid page, is there a way to overlap the pictures? Yes. Let's go back up here. Let's just go to a blank page. So you can go to your images if you don't have a template already made, and let's see. You can drag your images over, and these are asking me if I want to add them to the page again, because since this is a demo book, I have them on several pages. So you can scale your pictures out to the size you'd like. And so you can kind of design them how you were thinking. And so you just overlap them that way. But if you wanted this picture to be on the top, you're going to go over here to the Arrange tab and bring it forward. And then I have already ordered your cover, and it's not showing in my layout. The cover is, you order that or you upload it in a totally different place than this online program. So all of these pages you see here are your inside pages. So page 1 is by itself, and the back of the cover would be over here. And then these are the opposing pages. So you won't see your cover in here. The only thing you'll see related to your cover is if you're placing images from the cover themes. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any more questions. Once again, thank you for joining me. I hope our webinar has helped reduce the stress of submitting your yearbook pages. If you have any questions or have a problem arise, please feel free to call technical support or your customer rep for help. We look forward to receiving your books and enjoy seeing all your creative ideas. Thank you.